Ali.
A very good morning to you. You're watching Newsline. Unfortunately, today too, Mr. Farhad Shaukat Ali could not be here with us because he's taken ill. I think the flu has got to him, but while we wish him speedy recovery, we will continue with today's program with an interesting guest. Let me introduce our guest this morning to you, Dr. Ramesh, pathirana, UPFA parliamentarian from the Galle district. Thank you very much, Doctor, for being here with us.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me for the program again.
Thank you, Doctor. First of all, I had an interesting encounter today while I was coming here onto work. While I was coming on here, I saw this motorbike speeding his way and squeezing his way through. There's relatively less traffic in the morning, and then I noticed him going very fast. So at one point we were parallelly stopped at a traffic light, and I spoke to him. I spoke to him in Sinhalese and asked him where he was going at this speed. He said that he's going to deliver some goods, that he's working for a delivery company, and that was it. Yes. I had to mention to him that you can't go so fast because you're putting the people at risk. And then he once again sped away from me. But I couldn't help but notice something written on the back of his delivery box. It said, "Delivery at its finest." I want to ask you a question, Dr. Pathirana. You being a member of the joint opposition, supporting the former president Mahinda Rajapaksa, first of all, let me ask you, are you supporting this joint opposition because this government has failed to deliver?
Well, in certain aspects, yes. But we have to observe and see. So they are only 2 years down the line now. So as far as joint opposition is concerned, after the mandate, after the election in August 2015, so the people at the election meetings, we said the people that we are going to win the election. If not, we are going to remain in the opposition. So we had lesser number of parliamentary seats after the general election. So we decided to be in the opposition, for which the consent was given by His Excellency, the President Maithripala Sirisena. So being in opposition, what we need to do is to put government to the right track. So we have been trying. That's why we voted for the 19th Amendment. But as far as most of the issues are concerned, you take the social issue, the political line, and also the economic factor, I think government has failed to deliver. That's what we can see now.
In terms of the economy of the country, let's leave aside the GSP plus, let's leave aside all these serious matters. Down at the grassroots level, the people in your electorate, the Galle district, people in where I live, or my pocket itself, your pocket itself, you must be very happy because you're a politician. I'm just kidding. But the people, are they satisfied with the economic independence they have? Do they have the money to spend?
Well, the economic power, spending power has gone down. That's what revealed in the central bank report as well. They released the central bank report for 2016 about 2 weeks ago. It had clearly shown that there is a gradual economic slowdown. The economic growth rate had come down to 4.2 as against 4.8 last year, and 2014 it was 4.9. As against the regional countries, India and China, all those regional countries, the Central Asia is developing at a pace of about 7%, whereas in Sri Lanka it has come down to 4% now. And for the first time in the history of the country, since independence, per capita income had come down to 3,848. It had come down as against the last year. So this is the second time it happened. So generally we have seen an upward trend. We expected per capita income to hit $4,000 in 2016. So it had gone down now. So the economic growth rate, economy has slowed down. Per capita income has come down, and the famously claimed thing about the debt. Yes, that's right. So the UNPS then blamed the UPFA government, our government, that we have taken so much of loans. I mean, amounting to up to about 5,000 billion. Sri Lankan rupees during our tenure, 10 years, but they have taken 2,500 for 2 years, which is a staggering amount. So the loan amount had gone up to about 79% as against the GDP, which is a considerable sum, and it's going up. So it had shown its slowing down effect. So the spending power of the people are gradually coming down. So people cannot be happy, I believe. People
are claiming that the joint opposition, the group that you represent, is trying to split the SLFP.
Well, at the ground level, as I clearly mentioned to you earlier, so people didn't want to go into a the sort of unitary government with the UNP, because the policy-wise there is a clear contrast that you see in the today's governance as well.
Right.
So people who voted for us, at least greater majority of them wanted us to remain in the opposition. So some people opted to join the government. So there is a sort of a line of demarcation, as you mentioned. But we try and hope that when it comes to a election, probably it's local government elections, if not the provincial councils. So we should try to, the mend differences and get together and have a formidable force against the UNPS. So I keep my fingers crossed and hope that we should be able to.
Can you really have a formidable force against the government? Because we've seen the joint opposition in the past. We've seen what the joint opposition has claimed to do. Certain people of the joint opposition, will come to that later on in the program, certain people in the joint opposition seem to be having various ideas of the objective itself. What you all want to do? What does the joint opposition want to do? Let's get it clear out to the people today. What does the joint opposition want?
It's basically the development now in the post-war era, after 2009, the people of this country they wanted to have better living standards, for which we need to invest money, we need to have a decent economic growth rate, people need to have more jobs. So it's basically the prosperity. So we believe that country was on that path. So the economy was growing at a considerable pace. There's so much of investment in infrastructure. We invested in the other areas. So the people benefited basically. So the living conditions, including you take all the sectors, it could be the transportation, it could be the IT, it could be media. I mean, all these sectors had seen a reasonable growth during that period of time. So people wanted that to continue. Our policy decision, if we come back to power again, so we want to ensure that we provide that economic relief and economic progress to the people of this country.
Dr. Pathirana, when you say when we are coming back into power, does this mean that the joint opposition is trying to disrupt the progress of this government, or basically disturb everything, interrupt everything that this government is doing? Is that the plan of the joint opposition? How do you plan on toppling a government elected by the people, and all of a sudden in 5 years or 4 years time coming back into power?
No, it's all by democratic means.
Yes.
So I mean, even inside the parliament, even without an election, there could be there are ways and means of doing that. So it's a number game actually. The moment you have 113 MPs on one side, you can form a government. It's a different issue. But what we do is on long term. So we have come down 2 years. So it's about another 2 years to go down the line before a general election. But before that we have local government elections, and we have the provincial council elections. If they hold, I hope that the government will hold these elections.
Three provincial council elections in September.
To be in September, yes. North Central, Sabaragamu and Eastern Provincial Council elections. I think they can't postpone those elections unless they have 2/3 majority in the parliament, for which most of the members of parliament would not say yes. So we are going to have elections, so we can test the pulse of the people. So if people are not happy.
No, my question is very simple. The government is going ahead, irrelevant of what you and I say. The government is going to continue until the end of their tenure. If some miracle happens, that's not up to us to decide. But isn't the joint opposition at the moment trying to disrupt everything the government is doing?
No, we are not doing so.
You're not doing
so. That's why we voted for the 19th Amendment. All of us voted for that because that was something good for the country. And also we were talking about the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, which is the change of the electoral system of the country. So if they come out with something good, we can support. We have supported for the good causes. We are not there to the upset government in everything that they do. As the opposition. But we must ensure that they do something good for the country. We can be in the opposition. That's why we chose to be in the opposition. We can support for the good causes and oppose for the bad ones.
With regard to the progress of the joint opposition, you're a member of the SLFP.
That's right.
Which Mayday did you go to? Which Mayday did you attend?
No, we went to Golf Race. We went to Golf Race.
So is that constitutional according to your party?
No, that's
Would
right.
the General Secretary of your party agree?
No, the General Secretary of the party did not agree. That's why they were expelled. I was the organizer of Akpiman electorate in Galle district. So the moment we started organizing for the Golf Race Media Rally, they expelled us from those positions. So they appointed someone new. So yes, there is a conflict inside the party. We have to acknowledge that fact. But all of us are trying to, we believe that what we are doing is correct. We have taken the side of the people who voted for us.
Right.
So it has to be decided at the election. At the election, whatever the election that comes first, it could be local government elections. We can see whether we have done the correct thing. People will decide whether we have done the correct thing.
Yeah.
But there's a conflict, as you said, within the party about two factions. So some are with the government, which we don't agree. So we are in the opposition. So people will decide who had done the correct thing.
Dr. Pathirana, you are a doctor by educated
Yes.
individual is what I mean to say. There are many respectable individuals in the joint opposition, but there are people who the society or all of us here think they are not suitable. For example, the statement made by former Minister Vimal Veeravansa at the day of the May Day rally of the joint opposition with regard to the black flags of Narendra Modi. Joint opposition, the figure of the joint opposition, Mahinda Rajapaksa, former president, called on the former, the president, I beg your pardon, Prime Minister of India as well at the same time. What is this double standard situation of the joint opposition?
Well, in the joint opposition, there are so many different parties. Their policy-wise, it's different.
Exactly what I mean when you
policy-wise,
say
it's different. So it's like the coalition government. You look at the government, there have been so many internal conflicts, which are, which has come to surface and which are unmasked.
Yeah.
Likewise, in joint opposition also, there are different parties who have different opinions of themselves. So it's the idea, the opinion of Honorable Vimal Veeravansa, with which we do not agree. That's why His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa called on Indian Premier and had a meeting with him.
Yes.
So we have to understand, in that group there are, it's like a rainbow. So there are parties of different color and different nature.
How do we know which one to believe?
No, it's the leader you have to believe. So it's
Who is
we
the
are
leader?
rallying round. The parliamentary group leader is Honorable Dinesh Gunawardena, and our national leader is former President His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa. So the policies wise, the framework wise, the leadership wise, we are behind him.
Right. I want to ask you about something about the amount of corruption that is prevalent in this country. The government at its best accused the former government, former regime, former president, the family of being corrupt. And while the government has failed to initiate investigations and bring these perpetrators before the law, which was promised during the 100 days and afterwards as well, there seems to be an amount of corruption prevailing in the country at present as well. I do not personally see the joint opposition coming forward, and I've spoken to Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena as well. He was very vocal about the central bank bond issue. But other than that, is the joint opposition addressing the real issues that the opposition should be addressing?
Well, in our capacity, we have done what is possible. So, as you correctly mentioned, there have been so many allegations against our government,
Yes.
and for the last 2 years, they couldn't show the people credibly that these are the things we have done, the wrongs we have done. So it's very clear now they couldn't do anything justifiable to bring those culprits to book. So on the other hand, now this government within a short span of 2 years had got into so many unwarranted activities. So the central bank bond issue is one, and you know what happened to the tax evasion of the luxury vehicle importation, and you know what happened to the paddy marketing tender, and also about the Mahapola scholarship fund, and about those cases. We had gone to the CID, Criminal Investigation Department, and also to the Bribery and Corruption Commission. You could very well remember we had a program called Top 10, which we ended about a month ago. We filed 10 cases. It's fully documented, and it's you can see that in the website. And we have handed over all the relevant information to those institutions. I personally handed over 2 complaints in relation to drug importation and also about this vehicle importation. So. None of these cases were taken into consideration. They didn't even ask us to come and give evidence.
Right.
So we have done that our part, and very unfortunate. As a country, we are very unhappy. We are very unfortunate in that sense, because the Transparency International and the Heritage Foundation, they have shown that in the corruption index, you must have seen that report, Sri Lanka had gone down by 11 positions in last 2 years. So we have come down from 73 to 84 now. So it's going down in the corruption index. During last 2 years, we have come down in 11 places, which is worrying as a country. I think the main promise this current government gave people was that they're going to get rid of corruption, and they are getting embedded very much in the corruption.
Dr. Pathirana, I want to ask you a question again on this corruption matter. Now, we mentioned about the corruption levels of this government, and do you think the former government, which you are also a part of, you said you came into politics in 2009 and you went to parliament straight away in 2010, do you think the former government was not corrupt?
No, there had been element of corruption. We have to acknowledge that. I mean, it wasn't a 100% clear, wide government. That's why we were defeated by the people of this country. But was it up to the allegations that they made? That was the main charge against our government. It was a corrupt government. So that's what the reason of the downfall. Okay, they gave so much of publicity for that. But if having done that, now they have come to power. What have they done to show the people the credibility of the facts they made? They couldn't do that. They have, come out and, file cases against certain small issues, relatively small issues. So, I wouldn't say that our government was 100%, white and it was clear and there was no corruption.
Yes.
Well, all around the world, you take any country for that matter, you go to Japan, you go to America, you go to European countries, there is a level of corruption. I don't say it's good, but relatively we were at a better position than this government. That's what I say. That's what is said by the Transparency International Heritage Foundation. We were at the 73rd position in 2014 when His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa was the president of this country. Amidst all those allegations of corruption, now we have gone down to 84th position out of 162. So it's going down, which is not good.
In general terms, if you take a look at it, as I mentioned, there are various individuals, various parties in the joint opposition representing the objective of the party. You're a doctor by profession and you have been very successful in your electorate, except for this little incident of the May Day. You have had a good name. Being in the joint opposition, has it spoilt your name?
Not really. I think the people like us. Those who voted for us, they really like us.
I'm talking about you in person.
No,
Dr. Ramesh Pathirana, UPFA party.
No, I am very happy that we have taken the decision to be in the opposition, because we very clearly seen that government is becoming very unpopular day by day. So it's people, those who have even voted for the change on 8th of January 2015, they come and tell us, look here, it's not going to, deliver. They're not going to deliver. Then what they expect is, I think, the economic factor. Socially also it become a very unsettled situation. You see people on the doctors, engineers, the teachers, the nurses, everybody go on. Socially it's become very unstable. Economically, the country has come to a sort of stagnation. So politically very unstable. That's why investors are not coming to this country. So considering all those aspects, well, if you ask me the good things of the government, okay, I can highlight few things. I don't say there are everything 100% is bad, but it's more than 60% it's towards the bad side. So people come and tell us, even those who had voted for change on 8th of January, no, we are not happy with the current government. It's good that you have taken this decision. I think in Gold District, I have retained and protected my vote base. I expect that to go up in time to come.
Very nice. You brought our conversation to an interesting point. The strikes that are going on in the country. The joint opposition is directly accused of being behind this. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa was accused when the doctors went on strike with the trade unions. The joint opposition was accused when the petroleum workers went on strike, the CB workers went on strike. Every strike action that the country has seen after the Good Governance government came into power, the joint opposition was accused. No, it's not. We policy-wise, we have shown support to these some of the trade union actions. But can you remember how many strikes doctors, they went ahead with so many strikes during our time They couldn't. They went ahead. If you could remember, when Honorable Nimal Siripala Silva was the health minister, can you remember how many times doctors striked? You have forgotten that. So the doctors virtually, they were at loggerheads all the time with the health minister then. So they had strike, but there was a timely intervention. It happens today also. There are issues in, what happens today and then somebody mediated and solved the issues. Now what is happening? The main issue you take into consideration, two issues that doctors are speaking of. One thing is the CITEM, other thing is the ETCA, the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement with India. So nobody is coming out credibly to resolve the matter. So that's why they have to come back to the streets every day. So nobody is effectively solving. This is the social issue we have. So nobody is mediating effectively to
solve these issues. No, at that time also they came, they strike, but somebody intervened rapidly and solved the matter.
When it was the former government, Dr. Pathirana, as you said, when someone mediated, white vans were involved when it came to mediation.
No, that is, have you seen a white van?
I have not.
No, you have not.
Fortunately.
That's the truth. You have
But
not seen.
a number of
well, I haven't seen, you haven't seen. I asked so many people, have you seen a white? It's not the white van you talk about on the road. That is the common milieu, okay? That, you know, it's like the corruption charge. You know, they talked about the white van. I wouldn't say somebody must have done that. It's not the government, probably someone else must have done that. I mean, those things could have happened, but nobody has seen. It is not the weight that you give to this particular statement. You know, in the real life scenario, I don't think that it had happened.
So yeah, okay.
I don't believe it had happened because, you know, okay, there had been few incidents in relation to, you know, the attacks on media people and also the institutions which we regret.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't, even if government is not the one who was behind that, responsible government has a stake in that. You know, we have to ensure to prevent and mediation to bring the culprits to the book. So we don't go away from that scenario, but I don't think, you know, it's they talk about white vans. It was like the corruption of the previous government. Everybody spoke about it. Nothing had happened.
Let's get something cleared with Dr. Pathirana. Now, Dr. Pathirana asked me whether I have not seen a white van. Fortunately, Doctor, I have not. But a few people who did actually see the white van did not live to talk about it, and the other people were not in the country. Mr. Keith Noah left the country, Poddala Jayantha, Lasantha Wickramatunge himself, Prageeth Eknaligoda. These were all during the previous government. I'm not telling directly that the government did it, but we are yet to find out. There will be one day, the end of the tunnel, we'll see the light, and at that time we'll definitely have a discussion once again and see who has actually done it. This media institution itself, few years before I joined, it was attacked 2 times. Serious attack in Depanama, a bomb blast happened during the previous regime. So even though I have not seen a white van personally, a number of people who are currently working, even the people behind the camera, have seen the plight of what happened. So moving on.
Let us be clear about it. I think I must answer that.
Yeah,
we regret, as I mentioned earlier, we are sorry we're sorry that it had happened in this country. But about the other cases, Keith Noah, he fled the country. Now it had been 2.5 years now. This government has come to power. Yeah. What have they done in relation to revealing the truth behind those incidents? Okay, listen to it from the murder. We regret, we thoroughly regret about all those incidents.
Very valuable people.
Very valuable people, undoubtedly. Why can't this government bring those people to, because they've been carrying out investigations from, we know personally, we had seen those who have been taken into custody in relation to certain cases, Prageeth Eknaligoda's case, and also about the case you mentioned, Mr. Keith Noah's case. You know, those, the military officers, you can meet them and ask them, the moment they are taken into custody, what they say, the CID come and tell, okay, you acknowledge the fact that you have done it, you know, we provide you with the asylum, and you have to acknowledge the fact that it was the former defense secretary who was behind this incident. They come and openly say, the CID
you're sure he wasn't?
We have 100%, unless it's proved, right? You know, he's not the person. So, and you can see the dubious the handlings of these incidents, because the armed people, the armed intelligence people, they are behind bars, and the CID people come and say, look here, you accept that it was the defense secretary who had given the orders, and they say, we haven't even seen him, we have had no contacts with him. How can we acknowledge that fact? Is that the way to carry out the proper and transparent investigation? No, it's not. They have a political agenda behind that. If the government is keen, if the government is genuine about those issues, they can do a good investigation and show the world this is what had happened.
Dr. Pathirana, I think you would agree with me, we as a media institution, even though we were attacked several times, we have been able to hold our head high, because we have been reporting to the people when it matters, and the truth when it matters. Mr. Wickramatunge was not only a friend to us, but as I said, a valuable asset to this country in terms of journalists, as well as all the other people who left the country because of intimidation, and all the other people who left the country because they were at a certain point victims of a force that was there during the previous government.
Well, I accept all what you said. Yeah.
We'll quickly move on because we are running out of time. Galle District, once again in the headlines. Geeta Kumarasinghe has filed a petition at the Supreme Court. The appeal court order was annulled, and the decision is extended to September
Yes.
of this year. Maybe the decision will be held till the government is over, till the 2 years are over.
No, it's up to the Supreme Court to decide. So they've decided, they've granted leave to proceed.
Yeah.
That means there is a fresh case.
Yeah.
So Supreme Court will take its own time.
Yes.
And probably from Honorable Geeta Kumarasinghe's side, she may be having other evidence to support her case. So
Yeah.
it's up to the it's a matter of time actually. The Supreme Court decision would be a we have to accept whatever the decision that's given from the Supreme Court. We are waiting for that.
Yes, I can't possibly go without asking this question. You know how the former the president and the joint opposition, the former president and the joint opposition was challenged in a way to fill the Galle grounds.
Yes.
And from what we saw from the media, the visuals that we saw, you all were very successful in doing that. However, there is an accusation made by various factions in the political sphere that, once again, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe made the May Day rally of Mahinda Rajapaksa a success because he is the one who initiated to give him the Galle green. Is this true? Did he give you all the Galle green?
Well, that was the challenge. The government thought that we can't even fill half of that. So, to tell you the truth, when the government opted to give us the Galle green, we were also a little worried, thinking that whether we can fill the ground.
Yes.
It was a mammoth task actually.
Yes.
But what we saw on the day and the days before the May Day, people came, they came out voluntarily. They wanted to show the solidarity, they want to show the support. They said, okay, we are coming, organize the buses. Okay, if not buses, we go individually. We can use the public transportation. There was so much of support actually, which was unprecedented, and we didn't expect that number of people to turn around at that event. So it shows the level of the government, its ineffectiveness, and what people think about the government. They're not happy about the government. That's why people came. It's more than anything else. One thing is the support they show for His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, and the second thing is the ineffective and inefficient governance of the country.
Dr. Pathirana, once again, now you are a doctor by profession. I've been mentioning it quite a few times. I think I'm giving you indirect propaganda as well. With your profession and with your level of education, the May Day of our country, when we celebrate the May Day of our country, be it the United National Party, be it the Janata Vimukta Peramuna, the JVP, be it your party, the SLFP, Gatambe, Galle, wherever, the workers are not represented. It's a fact. We know that for sure. The workers are not represented. It's a method to show the power of the political party. And showing the power is a different thing. The May Day is a different matter altogether. We ourselves were able to fill the Galle grounds at an event that we conducted for the Olympics a few years ago. Filling the ground and doing what the people want the joint opposition to do. Where do those two things stand?
Well, I personally, I partly agree with what you said. It has become a political event now. We don't do anything for the laborers and the people of this country on that particular day. So it would, it's time that we think, laterally about what we could do on that particular day for the people of this country. With respect to the party differences and the policy differences, we can do something better for the people who are at the ground level, who don't earn enough, who doesn't have a place to live, who doesn't have proper sanitation and electricity. Perhaps we can contribute. We spend enormous sum of money on that particular day by all the parties. All of us have to spend at least 200,000-300,000 rupees to bring in people, support them, to provide meals and all that. We can utilize that money for a better cause. I agree with you that that has to be changed all across the board. I mean, if the UNP is celebrating, if the SLP is celebrating, we can't be at home on that particular day. But all of us together should change the attitude about the May Day, because it's a day that we waste so much of money,
yes,
which could be used for a better cause.
We want to ask you a very quick question because we are running out of time. It's been 1 month since Mitoto Mulla happened. I think today is 1 year since the Samasara landslide as well. I want to connect to the May Day rally question that I asked you before. When these things are happening, half of the people, do you agree with me if I say that more than half of the people that attended the SLFP Gatambe May Day, the Gold-Faced Joint Opposition May Day, the UNP May Day, are people who have no idea about their political, innocent people, helpless people living in the village? Aren't they the people who have attended all these May Days?
Well, it's increasingly the middle class people, they become a floating voter segment now. So it's those who come for the meetings generally are the people at the ground level. So economically they are not, probably relatively they are at a lower level. So they are the people, as you correctly mentioned, who come for these meetings. With the development of the society, with the middle class being generated in this country, when there are media to educate them, people do not come for them. But we see that in our electorate, say Goal and Akpiman areas, it's become increasingly middle class populated. So they don't come for the election meetings. They decide at home, because there are so many channels, the TV, the smartphones, and also the print media. It's so diverse in this country. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Lesser and lesser people come to the election rallies and the rallies of that nature. It's a good thing in that direction. After 10 years time, down the line, after 10 years, 15 years, I think that people wouldn't turn up for the events like that with the development, with the education, with the society evolves itself.
Very, very quickly, do you have an amount to tell me if I ask you how much, at least a rough amount, how much have you spent for the May Day rally?
In the sense, I can't talk about the total figure, but I mentioned at least, from our electorate, for us to bring people, we need to spend about 200,000 rupees for the transportation and food individually. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pathirana, for being here. I would love to go on talking to you about the political situation in our country, but our producer is shouting in my ear at the moment, telling me to stop. Thank you very much, Doctor, for being candid and being here with us on Newsline this morning. We will join you again tomorrow as well. I think Mr. Shaukat Ali will join you. Yes, Dr.
Thank you so much for inviting me again. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
To see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pathirana. Doctor, I want to leave you this morning with something Dr. Pathirana said about the May Day. The May Day has not been representing the real workers of this country. It has been a show of political strength. If the UNP is doing something, we cannot sit at home. But they too have to do something. Dr. Pathirana himself has spent about 200,000 to get people at the May Day rally, things that they are made to do because they are in the political party. But in 10 or 20 years, we will have a situation where people like Dr. Pathirana will be able to spend that money on projects to give things to the people in a better way. Maybe our country will be a better place then. We ourselves have the gum at the initiative going on, and we provide as much as relief as we can as a media organization. So hopefully the political parties too will stop their expensive spending and focus those on the people of this country. We will have to wait and see when that will happen. I will leave you now with those thoughts. Thank you very much for watching Newsline. Take care.
News First, Newsline with